Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of 100 Ways to Make 100K. Episode 8, we've got Dan Rivers. Now, let me introduce you to Dan. So I'm at this mastermind in Colorado, right? And they're like, okay, yeah, basketball, 5 a.m. Huh? 5 a.m.? I'm going to do it, right? Because bro, whatever. You know what I mean? One day, 5 a.m., I'm down. I usually wake up at 5 a.m. anyway. So I go to this thing. We go play basketball. Now, I haven't played basketball in literally 10 years. I can't even bounce the ball properly. I'm that, that one that in the class, every time you try and get the ball, your fingers are bending back? That's me. So I'm fast though. And so we're playing this basketball game, and all of a sudden this guy comes and covers me. And this guy's playing defense. When I tell you this guy's playing defense, defense, you know what I'm saying? So I'm there and I'm trying my best, right? People passing me the ball and I can't even really cross, I can't even really dribble like that. So I just keep passing it to people and run as fast as I can. And everybody's like, man, this guy's good. This guy's fast. Holy smokes. And the person that said that was actually covering me, and his name was Dan. So this is kind of how our relationship started. Now, throughout the event, he went on to tell me how he's getting into real estate, getting into multifamily. He's got 8 units right now. And I thought he got a pretty cool story. So I hope you guys connect with him. It took a lot to ask him to be on this episode, right? Everybody's on this bus trying to go to the social event, and people are trying to take me for a joke. And it's wow, that's really weird. But it's I don't know. It was a cool conversation with Dan, but more so, this interview, the pressure was really on because it had a live audience to it, and everybody was laughing at what we were saying. Man, I really don't like that about people, man. It frustrates me. Every time you're trying to do something, people try to laugh at you for stuff, but you just got to push through it. And this was episode 8 with Dan Rivers. I hope you like what he had to say.
Hey man, how you doing?
Good, how's it going?
Oh brother, I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. What's your name?
My name's Dan Rivers.
Now Dan, I got a quick question for you. Have you ever made 100K in a year before?
Absolutely, yes.
You think you could tell me about it?
Yeah, sure.
What were you doing at the time, man?
First 100K I've made, I was in property management and working for a property management firm down in Tampa, Florida. And
now what is that? What is property management?
It's managing large-scale condominium complexes, high-rises on the beach to HOA townhomes and communities.
That's crazy, man. How did you get into something like that?
Honestly, it was by accident. I was working at a bank and did a loan for some guy that was vice president of a property management company, and he just offered me a job, and it just went from there.
Wow, that's crazy. So question for you. Have you ever made 100K in a month?
Yes, I have.
Okay, you got to tell me the story, man. How did that happen?
First 100K in a month, started doing real estate and real estate investing. And not only did I do real estate sales, started flipping homes, able to make the majority of that off one home flip and then a few closings.
So how do you do something like that? And where do you start learning?
You just, honestly, you jump right in. You meet up with groups, you get a good circle around you, a good team, and you just learn as much as you can. You study, you read books. You analyze deals, you just practice until you get good at it.
So what was one of the books that you read? Do you have one you could recommend?
Oh, geez. To start off, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That's always the first beginner book.
And what's the second one?
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich is a great one.
Beautiful. Okay, Dan, quick question. This is the $1 million question.
All right.
Or I guess the 1.2 or $356 million question. Have you ever made 100K in a day? Or sorry, $3.56 million question. Have you ever made 100K in a day?
Have I ever made 100K in a day? I think I've gotten close to it. Might have been about $95,000 in one day.
$95,000 in one day?
In one day.
How do you do something like that?
That had to do with one of my flips closing and a real estate deal closing at the same day. Didn't quite hit the 100 that day, though.
Interesting. So when you say a real estate flip versus a real estate closing, can you quickly differentiate between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. So real estate flip is something that I buy a home, put money into, renovate it, and go ahead and sell that, and those are the proceeds from that flip. Whereas a real estate deal, I'm also a residential agent, and I sell homes to your normal buyer and seller. So that's kind of the combo. Yep.
What if you could go back and meet the old Dan before he got into real estate and all these things, and he was like, Dan, I want to make my first 100K. What types of things would you suggest?
I would say learn and just work for free if you have to, along someone that knows the business and has done it before, and then you're going to pick up the tips and tricks from them, and then you'll be able to make your first 100K someday.
Beautiful, Dan. Thank you so much for that advice, man. We appreciate you.
No problem, man.
Perfect.
Take care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of 100 Ways to Make 100K. That was our episode 8 with Dan Rivers. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week on another episode.